Hi everybody, I'm Beth. I am the person behind Wild Heart Alchemy here on Instagram, online, and here in San Antonio, Texas locally as a yoga instructor, and soon to be offering some local classes on herbs and other things. I just wanted to hop on. This is my first really speaking video. But I wanted to talk about something that I'm really passionate about, and that is sustainability that's tied to essential oils. So I did my first distillation in 2 years yesterday and sat and chatted with some friends, and it kind of got me reflecting on not everyone understands the process behind essential oils, myself included, before I learned how to make them and bought my own still. And I think it's an important conversation to have because the popularity and use of essential oils is at an all-time high, and I really see that only going up and up in the coming years. And while they're a really great tool, it's important for people and consumers to understand exactly where the plant material comes from, to understand the waste that can be involved in the process, and everything that goes into creating an oil, because it's really easy to just buy a bottle and not understand the history of the plant and the hands that touched that product until it made its way into your hand. And I think it's a really important aspect of using essential oils, especially since most people use them to supplement their health, whether it's for aromatherapy or putting them into topical products for their antimicrobial properties or whatever have it. Most people that use them in a mindful way and tend to be people that are more hooked into sustainability and just maybe don't understand or aren't aware of the lack of sustainability that commercial oils are involved in. And so I just wanted to talk about that a little bit today, ways that you can mitigate the waste that happens in the essential oil community, and also maybe talk you into learning how to distill your own so that you can control. First off, quality, right? It's so hard to trust what a company says about their quality of oils. You know, we've all been told by the companies that they're the highest quality, that they work with local farmers, and then there's always someone that does some investigation or does some reporting on it or does just some digging, and it turns out that they tested the oils and they're contaminated or adulterated, or the company, isn't completely truthful in how they are creating their oils or whatever. And so the best way to just bypass all that is to make your own. The perks of making your own are also that you're doing it in a sustainable way. So I did a distillation yesterday of yarrow. It's one of my favorites to distill because it just smells heavenly. It's the properties of yarrow are so great for the skin. In fact, that's why I did it. I'm going to be making some skincare products for myself to use. And I just wanted to show you, so the oil, after a 4-hour distillation that I did of almost a pound of yarrow, produced this much oil. I know it's hard to see, but this little edge right here, that's how much oil I got out of this. A 4-hour distillation of yarrow. And it's beautiful, like the blue is gorgeous. High quality plants from mountain rose herbs. But just to point out, like, this is such a small amount of oil that I got out, and I could maybe make a few products with this. And that's perfect for me. I don't need a 2-ounce or a 1-ounce bottle of it to sit on my shelf for me to use it and forget about it. Because that's often what happens. I have a bin of purchased oils that I got like 5 years ago. They're not even really usable in anything other than personal use now because I just forgot, got busy, lost interest, whatever. So this amount of oil is perfect for my personal use. I really don't make a ton of products to sell to the public or anything like that. I literally did this just for my own personal use. And so this is the perfect amount because I can turn around, put this immediately into something. It makes me want and need to use this quickly before it degrades because it's such a small amount. And so I'm going to do that, and this won't go to waste. And I would have used a pound of plant material, served its purpose, and not wasted anything. But the true reason that I did the distillation in the first place wasn't for the oil itself. It's actually for the hydrosol. So for just a few drops of oil, I was able to get almost an entire mason jar full of hydrosol. A lot of people love essential oils and have no idea what a hydrosol is. A hydrosol is the water that is used in the steaming process to create the essential oils. So in the distillation process, the water comes up, is heated, comes up through the plant material, up and over, down a condenser tube, and drops into the collection chamber that either dumps the hydrosol into a jar or collects the oil on top, and then you extract the oil from there. The hydrosol, so the water that comes out of that, still contains, you can see it's not entirely clear. It's got like a milky sort of haze to it. It's a little blue, kind of like the oil. So it still contains some properties of yarrow and some of the oils and constituents that come from the plant. So this isn't waste. And a lot of companies that make essential oils just throw this stuff out. They don't even use it. And it's just absurd to me because this stuff is magical. I find working with the hydrosols to be more potent and easier to work with than the oils themselves, because you can treat this just like water. You can drink it safely, so it's a safe way to ingest oils. I never recommend ingesting any type of oil, like even if it's in a gel cap. There's just not enough research behind how essential oils can over time build up in the digestive tract or whatever it can do to it. I never recommend ingesting even from a company that claims it's safe. So this is a really safe way to do that because it's such a minuscule amount. So if you want to ingest your oils, I recommend going the hydrosol route. What's also beautiful about this is you can do other things with it. You can make face sprays by mixing it with witch hazel, which is exactly what I'm going to do with this to make a toner. You can incorporate it into basically any product that you would make, a lotion or anything that has water in it. You can amp up the medicinal qualities of that by using a hydrosol, and you get a lot more out of it. And I could run the same yarrow, I could run it again and maybe not get as much oil, get a little bit more oil, but get an entire, like another mason jar full of hydrosol, and continue to use that and make products with it, or make my own stuff with it, or drink it, or incorporate it into anything that I really want. And so that's another added benefit of making your own essential oils, because then you have two products that you can use. You have your essential oil in a small amount, depending on what you're distilling. Every plant is going to give you a different amount. If I distilled cinnamon, most likely this entire jar would be full of oil. Cinnamon just has a resinous quality to it that produces a ton of oil in one distillation. Sometimes you can run it 2 and 3 times and still be getting really high quality oil, and even more hydrosol. Imagine the amount of hydrosol. I could probably get 4 or 5 quarts of hydrosol from a cinnamon distillation and then turn around and do something with that. So not only do you get an oil that you can use, but you also get your hydrosol that you can turn around and use in any way that you please. And so it's really cutting down on the consumption of plant material, the waste of plant material and byproduct, which is what the hydrosol is. and also giving you the quality control. So purchasing from a reputable seller like Mountain Rose Herbs or Bulk Apothecary or any other Star West Botanicals, make sure you're getting your plant material source, like do your research there, or grow it in your own backyard. Like I have an entire garden of Artemisia just waiting for me to harvest so that I can make my own Artemisia oil and hydrosol. So it just really puts the control in your hands. It can be an investment in the beginning. My glass still was around $400 or $500. There are smaller stills that you can buy to do even smaller batches. You can use the metal moonshine stills that you can get on Amazon for, I think, like $120, $150. So it's an initial investment, but it's so well worth it because it puts the power and the control of not only the amount of oils that you're making, the quality of oils that you're making, the waste that you're producing, and it's just a much more sustainable way to implement essential oils into your daily life and hydrosols in a way that connects you to the plant as well. I mean, when we get an oil in a bottle from the store, there's no connection to the plant itself. And so it's just a really beautiful way. And yes, it takes time and it takes patience and it takes mindfulness, but I find a beauty in that because it causes us to slow down and really evaluate what we're doing, how we're doing it, and appreciate the oil and the products that you're using. And so that mindfulness carries in to every time you're using that lotion that you just made with your oil and your hydrosol. Every time you put that on your face, you're going to be reminded of the plant that was used, the time that it took you to distill that oil and distill that hydrosol, and you're going to be taken back to that moment and that whole process. And that's really beautiful and a magical way of using this beautiful process and connecting with the plant and the environment and being sustainable. And we could all use a little mindfulness, right? And we could all use something that makes us pause and take time and slow down a little bit. And that distillation process is perfect. I know a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't know how you have the patience. How can you just sit and babysit a still for 2, 3, 4 hours after taking an hour to set it up and then taking an hour to tear it down? And it's an all-day process by the time you're done. Like, yes, it is an all-day process. It does take a lot of time and a lot of patience. And I find that when I don't feel like doing it and I'm in the mood of like, no, I don't feel like doing that today, I have too much stuff, if I make myself do it, I find that it's actually what I needed to do to slow myself down, to slow my brain and my thought process and just really be present with myself and be present in what I'm doing, because it takes a lot of presence to be able to do a distillation. And so it's just a really beautiful way to connect with plants and yourself and slow down and find that connection within the process. And it's also super empowering to be able to make your own stuff and not have to rely on a third party or a seller or going through an MLM or whatever. Like, there's nothing wrong with those things if that's your jam, but it's just a really empowering and beautiful way to implement these products into your life and have a deeper appreciation and a deeper connection to them. So that's all I wanted to say. Just waxing poetically about plants is the nerdy side of me. But I hope you got something out of this. If you're local to the area, stay tuned because I am putting together a class on distilling essential oils, how to use hydrosols and essential oils, how to make your own preparations. We'll break down some of my favorite medicinal plants to distill and use them in skincare products and other things. So stay tuned for that. Share, like, follow, comment, as always. Could all use a little love on Instagram, so that I can start growing and getting my reach out there. So please, if you know anyone that you think would be interested in taking a class, please tell them to like and follow my page. And if you haven't already, head to my link in bio to my website to sign up for my newsletter, because I'll be releasing the announcement first there on when you can sign up. Spots are going to be very limited because we are going to be making an oil on site, and we're going to take that and make a facial spray and possibly another external application for you to take home with you. You'll have all the knowledge you need to go out, buy your own still and do it at home. And it'll just be a ton of fun, and probably capped to a pretty small class so that we can keep it intimate. So sign up for my newsletter, follow me, share with your friends, and let's do it.